Welcome to the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation Division of Safety and Hygiene's micro-training series. In this session, we're going to address common questions about secondary labeling requirements for hazardous chemicals.
Why do chemicals need a label?
Labels let you know what's inside a container and what hazards are present. Chemicals will have a label on the original container when they come from the manufacturer, but it's important to also label a container when you transfer out the chemicals. This is known as secondary labeling.
How do I make sure I'm using the correct container?
Section 7 of the Chemicals Safety Data Sheet covers handling and storage. This is a good place to find any special directions for transferring and storing the chemical. Some chemicals must be stored in specific containers. Gasoline, for example, should be stored in approved vented fire cans.
When are secondary labels necessary?
We must label containers of hazardous materials in the workplace when the chemical leaves the original container it was shipped in, unless you immediately use all of the chemical. If the chemical leaves your immediate control, such as during a break, you need to add a secondary label to the container.
What information is required on a secondary label?
OSHA's standard says a secondary label is required to include the product identifier and words or symbols which provide at least general information regarding the hazards of the chemical. This label, in addition to other information that is immediately available to the employee, is required to provide detailed health and safety hazards of the chemical, such as the SDS. Essentially, this means a secondary label can be any type of label that identifies what's in the container and what hazards are present. The secondary label, along with the other information available to employees, must be as effective as a label showing the physical and health effects of the chemical.
Can the label be handwritten?
Yes. Be sure the label is legible and ensure your company's hazard communication policy allows handwritten labels.
Can a company use primary container labels on all secondary containers?
Yes. This label provides the most important health and safety information about the chemical. Additionally, employees are expected to interpret the shipping labels, which requires training on both the shipping HazCom label and the in-house secondary label. This duplication of effort can be avoided by utilizing the same label for both.
What should I do if a label won't stay on the container?
There are a few options. You can use pre-printed containers that match the original container. You also may etch the information on a plastic or metal tag and secure it to the container neck. Finally, an area label for containers that only ever hold the same chemical is a third option.
Do the secondary labels need to include the pictogram?
No, the secondary labels do not need to include a pictogram. As noted earlier, they only need to show the identity of the hazardous chemical and the hazards present.
Do labels need to be in English?
Labels are required to be in English, but also may be in another language if needed. This was an overview of common questions related to secondary labeling in a hazard communication program. This is not meant to be all-inclusive, only a supplement to your company's specific training. If you have further questions, visit our website at bwc.ohio.gov. Click Search. Type in Safety Consultants and press Enter. Thank you for making safety a top priority.